terrible, terrible case of the flu. He thought it better not to infect the entire TradFi world with it, so he shall be missed today, and here I am. Thank you all, however, for joining us today and for battling the cold and snow to do it. We know that for many of you, that was no easy task. Now, last year at the summit, I stood here and told you that we at ONDO believed a change was coming. A change where blockchain technology would fundamentally upgrade our financial markets. We called it Wall Street 2.0. And that change is needed. Despite the incredible innovation that is modern financial markets, it still suffers from many limitations. Limited transparency, slow settlement, restricted market hours, walled gardens, platform lock-in, manual processes, and most importantly, a lack of access. For billions of people globally, the financial system has failed to provide them with the ability to provide high-quality financial assets and services altogether. We've always maintained that public blockchain technology and DeFi could solve this, because at its core, the benefit they provide is exactly access. This means the access to own, to create, and to use the financial products and services wherever you are, whenever you want. Over the past year, we've made real progress in enabling that mission. We grew OUSG and USDY by expanding their TVL and distribution footprint dramatically. And most importantly, we launched ONDO Global Markets, our tokenized stocks and ETF platform that can do for US capital markets what stablecoins did for the US dollar. But it's worth noting that we didn't just ship products and platforms. We defined the category. We are the #1 in both tokenized treasuries and tokenized stocks and ETFs. In this last category, we have over 60% market share. We have built an ecosystem of hundreds of partners spanning traditional financial services and crypto players. And we've established ONDO as a thought leader in bringing financial markets on-chain. These efforts, combined with our product innovations, have led ONDO Finance to become one of the most recognized RWA brands in the world, even used to illustrate tokenization in official White House reports. 2025 was a fantastic year of delivering both products and partnerships to make Wall Street 2.0 a reality. And to illustrate that further, I'd love to welcome Brendan Flores, MD, on stage to give an overview of what we actually delivered. Brendan?
Thanks, Ian. Good morning, everyone.
Pivotal in the grand scheme of things. What is going on, my friends? I hope you are doing well. It's your boy back with good health after being really sick for the last couple of weeks. Sickness caused mainly by just working too hard, really, I suppose. But big up yourselves, every single one of you. Hope you're doing well. What I want to talk about is, so the institutions had a massive ONDO Summit. Yeah, Cave, big up yourself, bro. I thought I think I'd give you a shout afterwards, okay, bro? The man's been on a lot of medication as of late. Anyway, let's get straight to the business, because I genuinely believe, based on what we discussed in some of my postings in the Discord, and also this important summit for RWA coming off the back of the Chinese ban of stablecoins. So China banned again. You know, there's a lot of confluence in the investor squad. Big up yourself, bro. Thanks for letting me know. Steve from Yorkshire in the building. Of course, Patriot. I'll definitely message you afterwards. But there's this little news that was obviously doing the rounds earlier. China replaces crypto ban with a stricter regime, of course, carves out a narrow path for crypto. Now, what you see on the charts is a reaction a very strong reaction by Bitcoin after coming all the way down to around $68,000 today. We must hold 69,000, of course, being the last bull cycle top. But here's a theory that I had, regardless of this, of course, this news about China banning crypto, global liquidity. Experts don't actually know what they're talking about. Nobody effing knows what the F people are talking about. Hey, Cave, thank you very much, brother. Much appreciated, man. Honestly, I've never had a flu like this ever. But I've been in the Discord dropping some stuff there. But guys, look, gone are the days where you could go to reliable sources for crypto market discussions. I've just watched nearly 2 hours of my life watching Kyle Chassé and Pete from, I don't know, Toys R Us, Cryptos R Us, and Virtual Bacon. And it's quite weird because these guys actually, they maximize extraction of retail. And now they're wondering how to bring retail back. But there's no amount of kind of pumping coins that they can do to actually affect what's going on here. So the first challenge we have is holding Bitcoin's $69,000, which was the prior cycle high from 2021. But can we actually go and kick on from here? That's the main question. And in my opinion, absolutely not. There is no way we're going to go up in a straight line, okay? And there is no way that the bottom of the cycle was $60,000, at least according to the facts that I'm looking at. And if it was, that's going to coincide with 2017 and of course 2015, right? So 2013, 2015, and then 2017 run. 2021 is different. Bitcoin went to the 300-week moving average. And that's the first time and only time crypto's ever dipped that low. So what I suspect that's going to happen is we're going to see the liquidity to the upside come back into play, because right now they need to trap more people. That's what they have to do. They've got to really get more retailers in as much as they can. The market is 62% long, still in relative fear. Okay, of course, because smart money knows what the F they're doing. But funding rates, open interest, all of that is positive. Okay, in the short term. Where you have problems is, of course, 7-day trends are down. So if you look at, for example, specifically leverage, because leverage is going to be where these markets go up and down until we get permanent liquidity. Now, I'll come back to the ONDO Summit because I do believe that was such an important event for crypto in general. But as far as the short-term picture goes, I think there's a setup being made here. And of course, in my opinion, that setup could lead to a market bottom. If we bottom at the 200-week moving average, fair enough. Everyone's happy. No one's complaining, right? However, here are my analysis, because we are going to see things a little bit different after you watch this. So that's exactly my point. Beautiful point here by my brother. Is it safe compared to previous cycles? That's exactly what I want to talk about. So check this out, right? So this is something that I posted yesterday in the group, okay? So a level no one's talking about is the 300-week moving average, currently at $44,000. 2022 was the first time we ever saw this, right? And I'm going to show you how, obviously, based on that technicality, how volatility comes in because of institutions. So will institutional demand from investors like Michael Saylor and Tom Lee, basically, will they buy heavy? Will they actually change the cycle? So evidence so far is yes. And of course, I know a lot of you are in there. Some of you don't read that stuff. So it's better to actually talk about it on a live stream. So the fact that Investor Squad is saying, is it safer from previous cycles? It really depends what we're talking about. Most people got caught out, not because Bitcoin didn't have a bull run, because we've never ever saw a sustained rotation as we knew, because this is an institutional cycle. Hence why when ONDO advertises their ONDO Summit as the institutions are here, these are the gatekeepers. So as far as altcoins are concerned, we are now in even more important situation to actually think about this whole market. So evidence so far has been Tom Lee has been buying and absolutely destroying Ethereum buys. Facts. Michael Saylor's average, even though it's $76,000, well, you'd be surprised what I'm about to tell you here. So let's have a look at peak to trough, 2013 cycle. Okay, 2013, we peaked around $1,200, $1,100. Low was around $160, $150, depending on what you're looking at, man, Gox, whatever. 87% drop. 2017 to 2018, cycle peak, 20,000, low, around roughly 3,000 here or there, 84% drop. 2021, and it's important that you take this into consideration, because what we're saying is, are we less volatile with Bitcoin now? And of course, has institutional demand changed the face of altcoins forever? And these are really, really important things, at least for you to make an informed decision on whether you want to hang around in these markets in the long term. Now, 2021 cycle peak, 69,000, low 15,600, 400, 500, whatever. 78% average drop. Now, all of them, on average, if you combine all those numbers together, that's about 83% for Bitcoin in those cycles, right? So diminishing severity trend, 87 to 84%, roughly 78%, 2 to 3% less severe each cycle. So that's not a lot, right? So what you're seeing here is, if we go and remove the institutional demand, then what we expect or projections apply to 2025 cycle peak of $126,000. If these trends continue, so Bitcoin would be bottoming around $32,000 to $35,000. Now, this is without the institutional demand. If it's similar to 2022, then $27,000 to $30,000 is possible. And of course, current drawdown so far, low of 60, that was 52%. That's what we worked with on Friday. Now, taking institutional demand makes it possible for a potential higher bottom for Bitcoin. So why do I believe? I think 55 or 58 or 59, where we've just hit, to about $48,000 makes sense as a potential bear market floor. First of all, if this continues, a 56 to 62% drop this cycle will land Bitcoin around $48,000. Okay, 62%. And of course, 55,000 best case scenario, but we've already been there. We've already kind of sniffed around the 200-week moving average. So 55,000 to about 59,000, this aligns with Bitcoin's current 200-day moving average, but we didn't really exactly hit it. We kind of went into that zone, kind of then left it again. So will it come back to test that? So according to Kraken, the realized average cost basis is identified. These are for institutions of $56,000 to $60,000, upper bound on where the chain data analysis holders break even. So significant level to watch. Again, the 200 was historic bottom always for Bitcoin, historically. That's always in prior cycles, and I'm going to show you how that happened in prior cycles so you can actually see what's happening here. So if you look at 2018, 2019 bear market, so this was around the, once again, the 200 week moving average. And then we have 2021. So 2022 bear market paradigm, the bottom once again was different. This was the first time we went close or just about wicked into the 300 week moving average. And the only time that Bitcoin's ever done that. Will that be the new tradition? I don't know. I'm just saying, if we take that into account, then $48,000, this was a key resistance just before we had the Trump pump. So I hope you guys can hear me, by the way. I don't know if I'm still. So 48,000, why? This was a key resistance level for March 2024 that flipped to support. And this was the breakout level that launched Bitcoin to 70,000 plus. And again, this level gave us the, it's also where BTC traded following initial ETF approval rally back in 2024. ETF floor logic, there is about 1.3 million BTCs locked in on ETFs, 1.3 million. Cost basis of around $84,000 to $90,000. Institutional holders need to be within 40 to 47% loss positions to reach that range. Okay. So you got MicroStrategy at $76,000. And of course, 48 to 55, they'd be about 28 to 37% underwater. Okay. So currently we've just held support at last bull market's top. And if, of course, Bitcoin loses 69K again, daily, weekly close, that's what we were looking at. So conclusion is this: whether Bitcoin goes from, where the Bitcoin goes from, from here and smashes $87,000, which will make sense when you actually see the liquidation data and the liquidation heat map. Then you start to see from there, we could be reversing back, of course. And that's when a lot of people will be absolutely screaming again. So how do we remedy this? As investors, how do we counter this? What do we do right now? Okay. Some people are trapped. Some people are down 70, 80%. Some people are actually completely normal because they've started to DCA during the crashes and their averages are low. The first place we need to look at is this chart here. I call this the Dr. Evil. This is the worst chart and the best chart at the same time. If we flip this from 3 days and we go to the monthly version of this, liquidity becomes very clear. And there's a process in which we could absolutely go up and go take out liquidity. Look at the juices above. Do you think they're going to leave this for us? Let me just add myself back in. Do we have sound? I think we've got sound now. Let me just move myself from there to over here. Perfect. How about now, boys? Now we have the sound. Okay, sound's back. Brilliant. So what these boys are going to do is they are going to eat this mofo like you don't. They're going to eat this up to $90,000. But I believe around this $87,000 to $88,000, potentially $90,000, we could see a reversal back to the lows. And of course, if any time we break, I know we've got nice momentum. This was a significant buy of this $59,000 to $60,000 level. So there could be some confluence there to kick on, and we've been so close to the 200-week moving average. And with that being said, what is smart money doing? Because what you want is some practical action, at least visually, to see if there's any significant money flow in the market, right? So smart money currently, basically, they're holding Solana. I mean, there's money flow, by the way. Uniswap has been doing very well in the last 30 days. You don't see shitcoins anymore. All of a sudden, you're seeing good assets being bought and held by the smart wallets. So Uniswap here, ONDO is kind of like got 5% share in the total smart money volume that's coming into the market. Not surprised based on the ONDO Summit. AI agents, virtuals is gaining decent bounce. I mean, decent amount of flows. Solana's 24-hour massive surge, 98% fresh smart wallet accumulation. And of course, while established positions like Uniswap and ONDO Finance indicate long-term sector conviction. So this is the stuff that they are holding. Now, in addition to that, there was pretty good news for Casper. I know people are holding CAS, of course, and they want to know what the hell is going on. But CAS had a decent bounce from the bottom, and largely because it was driven by. So first of all, we had this buy signal here, and the price went, above 3 cents, whatever. But the main news for Casper is the smart contract DeFi, the layer 2 projects are going to bring TVL into Casper. So Casper right now, of course, still relatively cheap amongst everything else there is. Keep your eyes on it. It hasn't fully turned bullish, but it got bought up. We drew this box months ago. You see this range here is going to be very important between 1 cent and to about that 3 cent level. That's going to be such a key level, and it literally bounced off that. If you could get your hands on some Casper, especially, I'll probably do a dedicated video for what they're about to announce, or how Casper Summer is looking, because I think it's going to look slightly better in terms of announcements. Favorite altcoins, what I would say is, if you're not buying Tau, or if you're not DCAing into Tau, then you've obviously you don't understand crypto, and maybe you have a problem. Now, what do I say? I mean, when I say DCA, I don't mean you put all your money into this one time. But when Tau was all the way up here, I was telling people this demand zone, we will get an opportunity to nibble this. And if we break it, right, you can see the sell volume. I've already had 1 or 2 decent buys on limit orders that I gave to the guys. But Casper at lower levels is looking way more tempting right now. But we still haven't broken this yellow box. I'll just zoom this in for you. See this? Bam, gets eaten up. Bam, eat up more. Every time he comes here, it gets taken out. So I guess the question comes, like, what do we do with the positions we want to get into and the current positions we're holding? It's simple. If you're holding any level of shitcoin that's built on hype, hype's not here right now. You need that money to be going into good quality projects. I've been saying that since that Trump collapse last year. I've been saying it. I'm going to keep saying it. You've got to be in it. You've got to be in it for the long term, but you've got to be in the right projects. So again, watching Virtual Bacon and Kyle Chasse earlier, it was quite striking that they never gave any altcoins. They want to see what the market is doing first. And I understand that, but at the same time, you can't time the bottom equally as you can't time the top. So this is one key factor to consider here. Why is it so important for a project like Bitensa Tau? That's going to make you, a 10x would be $1,600. But if you stagger your orders all the way down to $57, you may get lucky. But at the very least, you take the decision out of your hands and you buy some, like I've posted previously, at the level of, say, 160, because psychologically, this is a very, very strong demand area. They're not fucking around here. Excuse my French. This level here is a legendary demand zone. That's why you're seeing mad. That's why it's been eaten up to try and keep it within that level. But I'm going to be patient. I've got nowhere to rush. I'm going to wait for it. And if it breaks that further, I'll accumulate some more. Ultimately, so that's Tau. We still don't have any buy signals, by the way, for these altcoins, which is absolutely quite telling, right? Bro said, I think they just have a problem like metals issues for not buying Tau. Facts, absolutely. Because look, the thing about metals, right? Nobody gave a shit. And to be fair, the only time we started to talk about metals was when they were really pumping. And even like logically, you listen to market leaders in this space. By the way, this is one of the worst spaces to survive in a bear market unless you've got a plan. You really have to remember where crypto was, say, during the Trump inauguration, and not inauguration, sorry, that was a black day. That was a crazy day. But you have to imagine a bit of liquidity trickling down into the system, coming onto risk assets. What assets will do very well? If you look at all the technicals, they are bearish. Okay. People have short memories. Like, people will call the market bullish and then next week they'll say it's bearish, then it's undecided. That's not how you should be planning to play in this market. You can chase the next 100x, you can chase whatever, but honestly, simple DCAing into, a 5 or 10 coins or maximum 5 to 10 coins, or even 3. If you believe in 3 coin, like if you believe in Tau, Sui, and Casper, or Say, or whatever, set your stall. Look at the price of Chainlink. Okay, Chainlink again. We had this box, and largely because of this wick, right? This October wick was absolutely effing crazy. Like, this was where the market had to kind of close out this wick. And look at this. It's come all the way back and you can't make it up. It's literally just closed out and now it's hovering around that area. And that's Chainlink, one of the most important cryptocurrencies that will be around, in my opinion, for the next 10, 20, 50 years even. But look how that October wick has caused every single cryptocurrency, or most of them, to come and close that inefficient candle. Absolute absolute poetry. But Pete, you are spot on. AVAX, all of the big caps are, and this one even more so because AVAX here, again, let's have a look at this on the weekly. Yeah, overall, man, the market's still under pressure. Monad USDT, let's have a look. This one of the ugliest charts. I'm glad we caught this one. So let's go to the daily. The chances are you're going to make good money with this because it's an EVM compatible chain with pretty decent backing from the likes of Coinbase. Right now, it is, it's like Pete said here, it's at the below the ICO, which I think was around this level here, 0. It was right. It was around here. Let's put this to exact level. So that the ICO, for anyone who was this blue line here. So you are officially, as we stand, you are now officially buying Monad. Let's take a little bit of a measurement here. Boom. Thank you very much. I'd be happy with that 30% discount. 30% from the price of people like Virtual Bacon or whoever was in there in the ICO. And that's how you got to think. You can't be worried about what the next 5-10 days are going to do. Like unless you're trading. If you're a trader, big up yourself. You can always trade the market based on emotions, based on macro data. But if you're really like just a normal guy who's going to go about his business, then you already got a 30% on the ICO price. You may even get like 50%, but this is a pretty good floor in my opinion. The max drawdown here was, I think it went as low as 1720. Bro said repo is 100x. Let's have a look at repo. I haven't checked it lately, bro. Yo, it's green today. My guy, repo doesn't mess about, Yeah, there's a bit of a drop off, but if you look at and for those of you who don't know what this is a human data infrastructure, AI for AI startups. I think, Pete, you were in this already. I think you're still up significantly, right? It must be up significantly. So I see I see crypto for what it is right now. And honestly, guys, you have to knuckle down. Just go buy some friggin' Tau in the next 90 days and you'll be good. Go buy it at $80, go buy it at $100, go buy it at $150, $160, where it is right now. You'll be doing very well. But I think there's a lot of analysis paralysis in the market. And the only thing you could expect from here is the entire altcoins to capitulate further, which is incredible because the institutions are here. And this was one of a few talking points that I had, guys. And is this good or bad? ONDO are, first of all, I mean, we saw what their smart wallet volumes were like, along with the likes of Virtual. People always buy Arbitrum, Optimism for stable coins. I actually use that as a different kind of indicator these days because whenever I see Nansen alerting me to high volume or high volumes of Arbitrum, Optimism. Like, I know straight away those could be stable coins. A lot of the time is layer twos. Obviously, they're cheaper. So let's talk about RWAs. Of course, the Chinese news is kind of eased off now. Yeah, that was quite legendary. That was a great call, bro. But yeah, repo is what, $4 million? Look, Base is going to melt faces. 14 million fully diluted, current market cap 4 million. I mean, 100x here would definitely be would be possible. You can't, stuff like this, especially on Base. Base is a different story. I mean, especially with the way they support their ecosystem. I know a few projects going over to Base. But look at this, hardly any exchange. Aerodrome V2, L Bank. It's a tiny, tiny project. Do you prefer Zcash or Horizon? You know what? That's a really good question, bro. It's difficult because Horizon, see, the move to Base as a layer 3 is, first of all, very attractive. So if we look at Zen, here's why I like this, because it has that longevity, right? It's been around for donkeys, just like Zcash. And wouldn't you know the way these guys rotate things? However, what makes me kind of like look at this shit chart here that has done nothing for years and years and years. Of course, last bull cycle, it went to 150. May 21, it was one of the summer movers. But I just moved myself back in the frame. Big man thing, yeah, right there. Save this. So I look, I'd like to gamble on the privacy rather than have it as a long-term core conviction, because I think, and this is why I've been accumulating this, and I wrote about it. I think I did a video on it. Anything that has Base ecosystem attracts me normally, because I think Base is where the money is. Let's be fair. Crypto is moving to America. Our man Agent Orange has done everything he can to move the industry over there. So on-chain privacy, that works for you. It has that similar optionality, but here's a few differences. Okay. And if I can just, let me, boom. Let me just get my page up. I like Zen. I think it's going to be risky, way more risky. Look, if Zcash comes incredibly available, then obviously you've got to be a fool not to fully consider that, right? It's going to be insane. But let me go back to Horizon. Did I display the page? By the way, guys, small crowd, but if you're loving this, then I expect you to like the thing. So Horizon, let's talk about it. Why do I like it? And would I prefer it over Zcash? Now, in my list of coins for this category, I've got Horizon and I've got Zcash. So, like I said, they've moved to Base. They have a decent, strong ecosystem, and privacy on Base. I mean, how many Base privacy infrastructure plays do you know? And it's $100 million, and it's been around for a very long time and has not pumped like Monero or like Zcash. So this is not as established as Monero and Zcash. People don't know about Horizon. But the fact that it's Base ecosystem play now, they've migrated over to Base. it is it makes me think that they will spend some time to kind of make the market move for this. And if you look at their roadmap, 2026 first app staking relaunch, which they didn't have. They've got a few pilots coming up. So it is risky. It is definitely more risky. But if privacy coin that hasn't moved, that has a narrative, and that's on a very good chain, is one that maybe you want to gamble on, then I think Zen and Base, I think Base will have a privacy run of their own. Now, if we compare this to Zcash, at what point would you accumulate more Zcash over anything else? Well, first of all, the market cap has reversed sharply. So has the price. I mean, this is incredible, right? Everybody thought that this was the coin. But again, still very good technology. And on the Near Protocol side, there's something called a Sashi wallet, right? Which is powered by Near Protocol. So you can actually have it's quite cumbersome how to actually use the privacy features. It's not straightforward, but this impacts both Near Protocol and of course Zcash. Again, the Near Protocol dynamic of it, you should not be ignoring, because I think that is definitely something to worth consider if you're talking about privacy or AI, or in this case, Zcash itself. So shielded transaction on and off, they are very similar. This is obviously a well-established project, well over $3 billion. The one that fits this sweet spot is going to be Near Protocol, in my opinion. At the moment, you can't really use the wallet to mask and unmask transactions. I think that is very, very difficult. But if this breaks $1, right? If this finally, it's not a if, when it breaks this $1 support level, I think this will be a very, very good buy. This coin has done nothing more than, I think it did about $7 this cycle. Where did it go to? 2024. It did, $7. Last cycle, this is well over $20. And now the market cap, again, then people will ask me, well, you want Tau as your main AI? Yes, this does not compare to Tau. This competes even with one of the subnets of Bitensor Tau. That's how good Tau is. However, when you look at the dynamic between Zcash and Near Protocol, and when you look at Near Protocol's not pumping, the tokenomics, longevity, the market cap right now, possibly coming under $1 billion, and then going to $20-30 billion in the future. I think this is a pretty decent one to look at. They've got AI marketplace. They power the Zashi wallet, or whatever it's called, the Zcash wallet. Zcash has a contract here and on Solana. So yeah, it's pretty good times to be alive, if I'm being honest, because good projects are all of a sudden available to all of us. Bro said XDB is the next 100x2. XDB, let's have a look at Pete. What is it? XDB. XDB chair. Did we talk about this one before, bro? Holy moly, it looks like a Christmas tree. Actually, no, you know what this looks like? Have I got the right one? XDB, wait. XDB. Okay, so you've got, I'm mixing it up with XDC, sorry. So this is a bad boy from back in the days. And the chart, to be fair, looks like K2 instead of Everest. I've been watching some crazy documentary. By the way, 2027 or 2028, I'm going out to Everest Base Camp. So hopefully that's the dream, but not fit enough yet. So yeah, if any of you have done any kind of mountaineering or stuff like that, do let me know, guys. because it is a fascinating thing. You know, I've been falling asleep every night, you know, since I've been sick as well for the last 2 weeks, man. Just watching, there's one called 14 Peaks on Netflix, which is insane. Going off topic here, by the way, talking about mountaineering. But yeah, I don't know what this one is. I don't know if we ever spoke about it. Brands, consumers of tomorrow. Would you recommend holding? Yeah, I'll let Pete come back and tell me, but it doesn't really look sexy at all at the moment. This is the one. Brands and consumers of tomorrow. What are we looking at? Branded coins, BCO. This is like an old school play. Interesting, bro. I'll definitely take a look at that. Okay, so let's bring it all back down to ONDO. Would you hold ONDO or would you sell ONDO? So first question is, what is your conviction? And before I obviously answer the question, it is now come down to the April lows. So I always said, can ONDO break 20 cents or below, right? This is long term. This is what you want. You want capitulation. You want to bag as many coins as you want. You know, 20, 30, 50,000, 10,000 coins will set you up. Fine. But ONDO is up 15%. But today, obviously, is down against both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So price is, I'm not surprised post an event like this, why prices are down. Now, would you buy ONDO or would you hold it? The answer is absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Because look, at the end of the day, what they had was absolutely incredible this week, in my opinion. I mean, look at this. They have literally got together who's who of market riggers. In the event, just to give you some summary, just to give you an idea or some kind of a summary of what this was. Where did I have my summary? So they've announced, so check this out. There's kind of key announcements within this whole presentation that they did. Okay. Wall Street 2.0. Yes, we know that's what they were branding, but of course they've launched the tokenized. So ONDO for me is kind of like a 2030, almost 2030, up to 2030 play. What's come out here is the institutions were very vocal. You had the likes of BlackRock, MasterCard, you had Fidelity, you had who's who of the people tokenizing assets. So you got to be a crazy guy to ignore that on the basis of a market cap, and we will assess the market cap. But they do have this ambition, and they are mostly delivering on what they're doing. The RWA stack here was incredibly important. But let me just give you a quick summary of the notes that I took. So ONDO announced obviously service to offer tokenized version of the select US IPOs on the same day as, of course, they are traded. ONDO Perps, a new perpetual futures platform designed for equities and commodities. Features include multi-asset collateral system, allowing users to use spot assets like tokenized stocks as collateral to trade rather than just stable coins. MetaMask integration, because don't forget, ONDO now is a layer one. So they are integrating ONDO global markets into tokenized stocks and assets and ETFs. And they are going to support the MetaMask wallet natively, enabling that self-custody on there. But the fact that you're going to have stocks on there is quite interesting as well. The team also outlined the vision for ONDO Chain, a network designed specifically for on-chain prime brokerage and institutional capital markets. And then, of course, in terms of their market outlook and macro trends, Dan Moorhead from Pantera and Tom Lee, Fund Straight, the two discussed the state of crypto in their panel. And of course, they predicted a global arms race for Bitcoin by sovereign nations. Yes, they would say that. And this is why we were talking about diminishing returns on specifically Bitcoin and Ethereum over each bear market. And they obviously stated that Bitcoin will outperform gold. And I do believe Bitcoin will, in the long run, outperform gold. Just the market cap difference alone is insane, right? Of course, every 4 years, the halving cycles. And then Tom Lee was arguing that traditional 4-year cycle might not apply anymore due to shifting macro factors. I agree. Bitcoin versus gold. One of the, again, the Pantera speaker noted that the trends where retail investors have recently favored precious metals, which is stupid, by the way, but that's why we're called retail, right? Everybody was top blasting that shit like there was no tomorrow. And I remember posting a chart showing, especially silver, how it dramatically declines once it's artificially pumped. Because don't forget, we're not talking about physical, we're talking about paper silver, stuff like that, digital, paper silver rather than the physical commodity. So that's what they were arguing about. Bitcoin versus precious metals, institutional adoption and tokenization, asset manager panel. And this is where executives from Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, Wisdom Tree, and State Street, I believe, discuss bringing the trillions on chain. This is something that you're going to hear, but I think it fully takes off as mature in the next few years, like 3-4 years. 2026, we're already in now. So we're probably looking at the next 4 years for this stuff to be absolutely all on chain. Key themes included the rise of universal liquidity layer where cash investments and payments live in a single digital wallet. BlackRock fireside chat then came on. By the way, the whole thing is like 6 hours long, so I had to kind of plug along taking some notes from it. But interestingly, on the BlackRock fireside chat, Samara Cohen from BlackRock discussed the firm's evaluation of exploring blockchain technology to launch Bitcoin ETFs and tokenized funds. She drew parallels between the disruption caused by ETFs 25 years ago and the current wave of tokenization. Yeah. Banking and payments then came on. Of course, we don't like the banks, but Citibank, JP Morgan, Swift, BNY Mellon all agreed 2025 was an inflection point for institutional adoption with a focus of shifting from piloting stablecoins, that is, to scaling them. And in 2026, of course, the scale is what they want to do. But make no mistake, with the way that technology is available right now, the infrastructure backbone is going to be key. And will these banks build their own stable coins? How does that impact Ripple for the XRP holders? Then there was a whole entire discussion on regulation landscape. And of course, they said that the improvement of and of course, there was people from the US government there. They've mentioned the Genius Act, of course, they will pass in 2025. And the imminent signing of the Clarity Act. Market structure bill, of course, as we know it, potentially by April. So mark that date, because I did say 2024, we had the narrative was ETF approval. 2025, it was the Trump rally. Really, 2024, sorry, was the Trump rally. 2023, ETF approvals. And 2025, we did have a second pump because tariffs ended unexpectedly and sharply, and there was a better liquidity situation with the Fed injecting money back into banks. In fact, the TGA account was absolutely drained in May 2025. That's why we had the pump. We didn't have the pump because, you know, the market just wanted to do an all-time high. It synchronized with what the Fed was doing. And this is another thing for projects like Zibek, US competitiveness. There is a massive, make no mistake, in this conference, there is a massive, massive push to make the US the crypto capital of the world. The US sees the dollar and the crypto linked. I mean, we saw the portion of RWAs that are tokenized US treasuries is higher than anything else. So crypto is heading for the stars and the stripes. That's going to be the future of the market, at least a market that's been largely dominated in the East. You know, you have centers like Dubai, you've got Korea, you've got Taiwan, and not Taiwan, you've got Vietnam, you've got Singapore. Crypto has really thrived in these neck of the woods, but crypto is going stars and stripes in the future because they see the benefit of this is the only way you're gonna have the dollar supremacy. And don't forget, global trade is denominated in US dollar, despite the fact that you hear, oh, China is gonna dump and the yuan is gonna be the base currency. Bullshit. The American dollar, China, basically, they hold 85, I think it was 85 or 86% of their trade in US dollar. So that's not going to happen. But just to kind of summarize this for you, US competitiveness, the US wants to become the hub for digital assets innovations due to this massive Trump policy shift. And then they talked about future of exchanges, of course. What did BitGet, blockchain, Fireblocks discuss? I wasn't really keen into that. And then they talked about the prediction markets and what they call the degenerate economy, which is absolutely insane. I mean, if you saw the Super Bowl halftime, you would have seen the bettings on Bad Bunny. So yeah, now good question, bro. So I would personally, giving you what I'm giving you now and what I understand, I know that's a bit of a long answer to that question. But I would DCA into ONDO, let it drop some more, buy some more. It's a very good price right now. I'd nibble here. I'd wait for the market cap to drop below $1 billion, nibble some more. But this is a relatively decent price. I think based on holistically what I've presented to you here, I see ONDO being in the, you know, at least $40-50 billion market cap. And based on where we are right now, it's a great time to be alive. Nothing I say here is financial advice. Do your research as always. But if you've got a TVL that's decent, you've got good market cap, you've just had the ONDO Summit, you've got all the American banks, the US government, all of that, then I think if you can hold it with a projection of buying if it comes lower, holding when the price is stabilized, and then taking profits on the way up, I think you're going to do very well. I think so, yeah, from memory, bro. I just can't remember. Yeah, it depends on where you start. Mount Everest, K2 is much deep. Bro, I'm telling you, K2 is, that is a beast, right? K2 has no infrastructure. I mean, I met a friend here, a lovely guy. He's a former Gurkha of the British Armed Forces. I believe the Gurkhas are just like the SAS. They're like super special forces. So I just met this random guy in Abu Dhabi, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm from Nepal and I climb Everest for living, for fun." I was like, "Oh yeah, well let me see what's happening," you know, and started to research into it. Everest, I think that Khumbu icefall can absolutely murder people, but generally speaking, nowadays Everest is doable. I mean, unless of course tragedy happens and you're not fit enough or whatever. But K2, man, you have to move through dead valleys. Man's watching over their shoulder looking for the Taliban and thing, you know? So yeah, it is much steeper, man, but I'd love to do it one day. Holy crap, you did it. Yo, guys, can someone smash a like for my brother here? Because I'm dying, bro. Oh man, you are a legend. So Peter's done both. But guys, oh man, we need to, bro, we need to link up, man. I need you to train me. 6 weeks. 6 weeks of training. And I've never left terra firma, by the way. I don't do climbing. I don't do none of that. I'm firmly on the ground. But Pete, that's insane, man. You see like all those rocks falling? This is, man, Pete is a legend, I swear. This is like, for me, anyway, if I ever, I mean, look at this. Look where these guys are. Let me just share this page. You see the clouds below you? Man, that I just learned about the tragedy that is green boots as well. Bloody hell, man. So anyway, these, you know, the aim is to conquer whatever you want to conquer. Like, it's a lifetime achievement. The fact that Pete's done both, I admire you, bro. Honestly, this is, you have to have proper cojones here. And there was a guy, so they'll tell you, go straight up. When you reach green boots, take a left. And green boots is basically, it's a dead person on Everest. Now, listen, you know what? After all this frustration with crypto, man, next year, I'm going to have to go up there, guys. But this is like, basically, if you give the analogy to crypto, like, this is what we're doing. We just don't know we're doing this. But look at that. I mean, nah, bruv. What is it? 28,000, whatever. So basically, you're looking at a commercial level flight. Commercial. Oh Lord. Hell no. Nah, man. That is just madness. Absolute madness, bro. But congratulations, honestly. Cave said, I've only climbed 2 mountains trying to find. Cave. Bro said, Epic Chain as a risky one on RWA is as risky as they come. And I'm going to show you why, bro. So when you have smaller assets, I do believe, look, at the end of the day, the price has held up relatively well, from $1 on average to around 32 cents, right? But it's gone beyond a level. I mean, tokenomics are good. Binance has been kind of like, there was this massive sell-off here. If you look at this on Nansen, decent distribution. But if you look at the top 100, the top 100 wallets, they're not messing about. You know, they're still buying. Smart money is holding. Public figures at least hold a little bit. So, I mean, if you look at public figures, who's this public figure? Let me see this guy. Hasn't sold any, man, regardless of price. So what would we get now for 10,000? So $2,500. How much would that be worth? So if you look at, sorry, let me just do ONDO first. Yeah, 2.5 grand into ONDO, 10,000 tokens, easy work. Epic Chain, let's see. It is risky, but the amount you need now to get decent amount of tokens is way less. So if it comes under 30 cents, I think it will be really, really good buy level. Still $10 million market cap, so it's micro cap. Trading volume, 50% of the market cap. So that's not bad at all. But right now, if I was to put 1,000 tokens, that's $300. Yo, honestly, like, you know, this is crazy, right? It's not a conviction, but you can't do raw. It's only what, 30 million tokens. 10,000 would be 3,000. 5,000 would be 1.5, just over 1.5. Yeah, some decent prices out there. 2,500, $800. You know, $1,000 into this, especially if it dips below, if this dips below 30 cents, comes into like 25 or whatever, put $500 in. That's how I would treat it. Where I was, you know, instead, you know, like for example, Tau or Ondo or whatever, I put 5 grand, 10 grand at a time, like that, because it's just so you know, such a different class of cryptocurrency. And then we have this bad boy here, which everybody seems to have forgotten. So if we look at the market cap, still above 3 billion, I believe. At one point, it was just stuck to 7 bill. So let's look at SUI. Has anyone been seeing these Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi AI friggin' adverts or whatever they are, clips? So SUI right now this is the one I want to capture. To be fair, 96 cents. I'd love to buy this 50 cents or below. This would be crazy, but I don't know if we're going to go there. $3.7 billion, trading volume well below its usual billion. And yeah. Absolute legends. Bro said, best part about these dangerous expectations is that yeah. K2 is mental, bro. You got to be legitimate, bro. Facts, bro. Honestly, that there's no way you're just gonna walk up and use your, you know, use your spikes or whatever and access just to get up, man. That stuff is insane. But I bet it feels like looking down from an aeroplane, right? Got better technology and stuff. Oh, bro, you went, yeah, it's, I think, you know, to be fair, like I was, I'm just so fascinated with the whole thing, bro, because, you know, life is too short and all of that. But I think there's something wonderful about even going out to base camp, right? You know, don't have to be, it's still going to be a lot of work. You know, there's a lot of high, I think base camp, what is it? 5,000, 4,000, something like that. But honestly, when I saw there was a guy who was climbing a K2 and these rocks were just falling, and it was like a 70-degree angle. I've never seen anything like it ever. Absolute insanity, bro. But yeah, man, guys, I've done an hour. I think I've done well for my first return. I'm still a little bit under, but we're getting stronger and better. I want to love you and leave you. God bless you all. I think we had a decent stream, and I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Next time I'll schedule it or something. Arrivederci, guys. Good night, and God bless. Take care.